with spring practice, of course, going on, probably a pretty good weekend for some visitors.
Yeah, Notre Dame's got a ton of visitors on campus, Darren. We're about to talk about 4 of the main ones. Of course, you can go to blueandgold.com for much more coverage of Notre Dame's recruiting weekend. I'll have a visitor preview posted. We'll have a show with Kyle Kelly on Friday afternoon that folks can watch or listen to the podcast version of it. We'll definitely preview this weekend. So I'm just going to go through 4 of kind of the names to know. Modern day high school, even for Darren, you call yourself a novice recruiting follower. You probably know the name Modern Day High School in Southern California. It pumps out so many top talents. Bryce Young, the Panthers quarterback. That's it. That's one of the more famous players from Modern Day, but so many players. Top high school athletes come from this high school, one of the top overall programs in the country. So Notre Dame has not had great success at Modern Day in recent years. They had, remember, C.J. Williams committed a couple years ago. He ended up flipping to USC, and then he ended up transferring to Wisconsin, of all places. So Notre Dame hosting Chuck McDonald. We'll see if they're able to flip some fortunes at this school. It would be a nice one to get a pipeline at. He's a 6'1", 180-pound cornerback in the 2025 class, 4-star player across the board, considered a USC lean. This is McDonald's first trip to Notre Dame coming up this weekend, so a pretty big deal. We talk all the time about this 2025 cornerback board on our show, Darren. McDonald's not one we talk about more often. The next guy we'll discuss in a second is one we discuss almost every single week on this recruiting update. Dallas Golden we'll talk about. Jameer Joseph's a New Jersey corner who's officially visiting this summer. We don't talk about McDonald a ton, but visiting this weekend. And Darren, we say this all the time. Notre Dame's just a place that if you go there and it clicks, you don't need more visits. You just kind of know. If you know, you know. So we'll see if that's the case with McDonald this weekend, because going into it, it does feel like the Irish are on the outside looking in. Talked about, hey, we're going to discuss this other corner in a second, and it's Mark Zachary from Indy Ben Davis, top 100 overall player, Indiana strong 2025 recruiting class. The number 1 player in the country per the industry ranking at On3 is Damian Shanklin from Warren Central. Number 2 player in the state is Mark Zachary, considered a Notre Dame lean. I think, Darren, this visit is going to be key. He's got more unofficials lined up. He's got officials lined up in the summer. A sneaky development could be, what if he just gets blown away this weekend and that's it, and he just wants to go to Notre Dame? That's something to watch. Don't know if that will happen. He's got other things lined up, but I do think either way that this could be a big kind of development for the Irish to take a step, even big of a step forward. I think Notre Dame leads there. Can they take a bigger lead? Derek Meadows is a huge one, Darren. Top 100 overall player in the country, 6'5", 185-pound receiver. Notre Dame offered him last summer after seeing him at Irish Invasion. We've talked about him on this update, Darren, for the past, 10 months, 9 months, whatever it's been, as a huge target for the Irish. And now in the past 2 months, everyone and their brother is offering this prospect. I mean, he has blown up. Alabama, Georgia, Michigan, tons of schools are after him, but Notre Dame has kind of the ability to say, hey, we offered you back in June when you had like 3 other offers. It wasn't very many at that point. So he's been to campus twice already. He'll be on campus this weekend and then returning in June for his official visit, a big one to watch. And then 2026 quarterback recruiting is in an interesting spot. There's a few candidates on the board who I'm looking at. Like I could see them popping for the Irish in the next few months. Noah Grubs is one of them. This will be his 3rd time on campus. 6'3", 210 pounds, 4-star prospect from Lake Mary in the Sunshine State. It's in the Orlando area, I believe. He's visiting campus. Could be a really interesting one. He's got spring visits lined up, but the feeling I'm getting, Darren, is that while none of these quarterbacks are saying, oh, I want to commit this spring to a school, talking about the ones that are on Notre Dame's short list, I just get the sense that one of these guys is going to want to lock up that spot to be Notre Dame's 2026 quarterback. Could it be Grubs? Could it be Brady Hart, who I logged a prediction for earlier this week at Blue and Gold to end up at Notre Dame? He's going to visit in early April, and then midweek next week, a quarterback by the name Troy Hun will be visiting Notre Dame. So again, I did log a prediction. Brady Hart from Coco, another passer in the Sunshine State, 4-star player, number 109. Oh, excuse me, number 109 overall and number 9 quarterback in the country, 6'5", 185. So again, quarterback recruiting. No one's like, hey, I'm committing at this date, nothing like that. But I just get the sense that Gino Guidugli has put this board in such a good position that one of these guys is going to jump on the opportunity soon. Like we've seen in the past, the Irish kind of landing later commitments at the quarterback position. Not this cycle. Gino's done a really good job building out the board, getting these guys on campus. So yeah, it'll be interesting to track, my friend.
All right, let's go to the defensive side of the football. And Jadon Blair, a safety, he has set a visit date.
Yeah, so we had this news at Blue and Gold this morning. Winston-Salem, North Carolina, Mount Tabor, 6'4", 180-pound safety. We love these long safeties. Feel like Kyle Hamilton. He just gets pointed to. Like when you have these big, tall, long safeties, they all mention Kyle Hamilton. Notre Dame's been able to attract some of these types of players. So Jadon Blair visiting Notre Dame. It was April 3rd through the 6th. So I'm sure he'll get in at some point on the 3rd, be able to maybe get dinner with the coaches, 4th and 5th, get the full visit experience, see practice, and then head out on the 6th. It's a pretty big one because Penn State it's felt like the Nittany Lions have taken the lead in that recruitment. The Penn State side of things feels more confident at this point, kind of from what I gather behind the scenes. But Notre Dame's going to get him on campus for a few days in early April, and that's the unofficial that the Blair family, it's on their dime, and then he's returning in June for his official visit that Notre Dame, that's the all expenses paid one. So, Darren, it's been 5 official visits that these players get to take. That's been the thing for the longest time. Now it's unlimited. The players can take as many official visits. You can only go to a school once for your official, but you can take a bunch. So he's got 7 official visits locked in from late May to late June. So it's going to be very busy. Some midweek trips, including one to Notre Dame, June 11th through the 13th. So, and talking to sources on the Notre Dame side of things, the feeling with Blair is that you get him in early June, get him in early April, you get him in June on campus, you at least have a puncher's chance. And it is more than a puncher's chance that they have. I mean, this is someone who's visited Notre Dame a couple times before. Notre Dame has, really cultivated a strong relationship with him. Chris O'Leary left for the Chargers, but I think Notre Dame's still in a pretty good spot here. So might be Penn State at the top of his list, but when you're taking 7 official visits and then he's announcing a commitment in July, I mean, really, who knows where that recruitment's going to end up trending.